Okay, perfect. You should see a white screen in front of you. Do you see that or not?
Yes.
Everybody see a white screen? Okay, great. This is something that I used and that you can use if you're conducting synchronous classes, but it's a great way to start a class or a meeting. And I just decided to start out with what accessibility skills do you currently use? Are there any skills that you know that you use already when you're creating course documents for your classes? And in order to type on this whiteboard to answer this question, you might see a toolbar where you have a text tool and you have some drawing items. If you don't see that up at the top of your screen, you should have something that says View Options, and then choose Annotate, and that will allow you to contribute to this whiteboard if you want. And let me know if you have any questions on that. There you go, DJ, I see that. And I'm going to bring up the chat.
So I've got to write rather than type?
There, yeah, you can write it. You can draw your pictures like you did last week if you want. That's fine.
Can I change that to a typing?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I've got it. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Go ahead and click on the text tool.
Okay.
There you go. If you found your tools, you have different tools to try down there.
So when you mean,
you guys having any luck?
yeah, I'm fine. When you mean accessibility skills, do you mean sort of like different software I use and things like?
It could be different software, or when you're creating a Microsoft Word document, for example, are you using headings, the formatting? Do you use, there you go, closed captioning or?
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I will tell you what, we are going to focus on 7 core skills. So maybe this was an unfair question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it have to be Word documents?
No.
Oh, okay.
Anything where you have accessibility in mind. And if you're typing on the whiteboard, you might be typing in white font.
I would say it's more than font too. It's just creating documents that are easily readable. Being aware of special graphics that might not be understood by some.
Sure, good. Organizing your document in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Amy, yeah. Keep assignment instructions simple, clear, good. Audio print, yes. Okay, we are going to talk about what you posted on the whiteboard. And again, if you would like to use the whiteboard and you're not sure how, this is an option when you share your screen in Zoom. And there's a whiteboard option that you may not have noticed before.
I have not. This is neat.
Oh yeah, well, good. So learning something in addition to maybe possibly some accessibility things. So it's just on new share, and then whiteboard is an option for that. And like I said, tools may not be available to your students or to members of your audience. And so in that way, just direct them to click on view options and choose annotate to be able to participate. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go to a new share from here. I'm going to share my desktop. And let's see, double click and share. Okay, so my messy desktop, I have a lot of windows open. And could I have someone just sort of monitor the chat for me? Just if questions pop up, or we have such a small group, if you just want to speak up and just say, hey, I have a question about this, okay? Feel free to interrupt me at any time. But otherwise, welcome to Thursdays in the Workshop. My name is Kate Hoof, and I'm the instructional designer here at Shepherd. You may hear my dog in the background crying, so I'm sorry about that. She's my office assistant who mostly sleeps on the job. But today's session, we're going to focus on identifying 7 core accessibility skills that will help you create accessible course documents for your students. If you have a document up, for example, a syllabus, or even if you just have Microsoft Word up, you can I'll demo these, and you can work alongside if you want to practice some of these skills and ask any questions as you're going through it. I'll be using the desktop version of Microsoft Word. And so I would recommend using that so that your menu looks closest to my menu, although I am on a Mac computer. So there may be some slight differences, but all the labels will be the same, okay? I hope that you'll be able to share this information with your colleagues so that we can all create accessible course documents to be as inclusive as we can for all of our students, okay? So moving on, we're going to talk about briefly just what is accessibility, why it's important. I will introduce 7 core skills and demo them, as well as talk about accessibility and quality matters. And then take any questions. And as I said, we'll, happy to take any questions throughout, very informal, just stop me at whatever point. So accessibility just means that anyone who is viewing your course documents or is in your course or meeting or whatever is fully able to perceive, to navigate, and to contribute, to interact with your content as anyone else would. So making these documents accessible just allows for that freedom of movement and use with your course materials. So it's really important because they're based on the National Center for Educational Statistics. The latest study that they did on this was from the 2015-2016 school year. And NCES found that approximately 19% of undergraduate students and 12% of graduate students reported having a disability during that particular school year. So at Shepherd, while with approximately 3,000 students, that would mean 570 undergraduate students and 32 graduate students could report living with a disability. So 19% of undergrads, 12% of grads could report. And those are students who could report it. That doesn't mean that all students do report it. And 2, students who live with a disability, it may be temporary. They may have a temporary physical impairment because of surgery or some other, or something else like that. Okay, so it could be temporary. So at this point, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to launch a poll, and I want to know, how many of you have an iPhone? Okay, so that's that's 2 of 3. And I'll stop sharing. Okay. So that's 2, actually, 3 of us, because I do, sorry for that noise, do have an iPhone. But this is just to show, if you do have an iPhone, you can create a way to make the back of your phone a button. And so this is an example of accessibility that has improved usability for all. And if you have an iPhone out, if you have it, you would go to settings. Okay, and you probably can't see my iPhone, I'm so sorry. But you would go to settings and scroll down to accessibility on your screen. And underneath the accessibility setting, and I'm sure other phones have something similar, you would click on touch. And on an iPhone, it's called a back tap. And so you would turn the back tap on. And you can equate that back tap to a variety of different functions on your phone. So for example, I said that if I tap the back of my phone twice with this back tap, I want it to take a screenshot, for example. And so there are certain, creating accessible materials can just improve usability for all students, not just students who are living with a disability, but also creates equal access and adheres to the law, and it reduces institutional risk, okay? So what are the 7 core skills? I really like the way the University of Minnesota framed accessibility, where they focused on the 7 core skills, which I think it's very doable. And so I adapted it here for us. And 7 core skills: alternative text, contrast, headings, links, lists, tables, and then specifically video and audio, creating captions and transcripts. So with alternative text, this just means that you're incorporating captions or alternative text to any photos that you might use in your course documents. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and post another poll, and I can demo this. Just let me know. Do you want me to demo alternative text? Okay. $40 to $60. Okay, I will go ahead and demo it. So with alternative text, when you add a photo to a course document, and this is applicable to adding a photo in Sakai, for example, in the HTML editor. If I were to choose a picture from a stock image, for example, and I'm going to pop it onto the document, I can do a right click on it and I can say I'll edit alternative text, or it appears in this box here, okay? So right click, edit alternative text. And these stock photos already have content, alternative text written in it, but you want to include any information that is applicable to your course. And so if this image conveys meaning that students who use a screen reader would not be able to, screen readers can't read pictures, correct? So you would just type in a sentence or two description that would convey the meaning that you want the students to get from that particular photo. You can see here, you can also mark it as decorative. You know, you might use the school seal or some other decorative photo, and then you could just mark it as decorative, and students who use screen readers, the screen reader would denote that and just move on from that. Okay, so that's how you use alternative text. Do you guys have any questions on that? Okay, easy peasy. Again, the same works in Sakai. It's basically, it works the same way in basically any program that you use. You don't want to call your image a graphic, you know, or say this is a picture. You want to be more concise than that. And if there are any math people here today, there is a whole description guide to use with any charts, graphs, or any of the graphics that you typically have in math classes. And that's listed here. Okay, moving on. Headings. So headings are basically ways, and Amy, you may have been referring to this in the way you organize your documents. And basically using headings, you organize your documents, you know, most important would have a large heading to basic text content, and then you might have a subheading. And this particular organization is helpful, again, not only to all students because of the way you organize your papers or your course documents, but also for students who use screen readers. They are able, just like we are able to scan a document and we would look at headlines and subheadlines first. Screen readers can do the same thing if the course document is formatted correctly using headings, heading styles, and paragraph styles. And so I'm going to ask again, just within a poll, I will relaunch the same poll and, oops, let me stop sharing. Technical difficulties, please stand by. Okay, go ahead, and I relaunched it, and I think you should see it. Should I demonstrate, or do you want me to move on? Okay. Good job, everybody. No headings. Perfect. Moving on. Share the results. Okay. Stop sharing. If you use polls, it's really important to stop sharing, or people will continue to see the poll on your screen. Then that may have happened today. I'm not sure. Okay, links. You want to use descriptive labels. We see for any links to websites. And so a lot of times, and you will still see this today, you might see something that says, click here for more information. And again, for those students who use screen readers, click here isn't descriptive enough. What is that link specifically? And so it's really important just to use a descriptive link within the body of text and to try to avoid phrases like click here or learn more, okay? And so what that would look like, you can find more information on tech shops on the CTL website, or the article Bruce Springsteen is Living in the Moment, which obviously these two things are links to those particular content, covers the musician's new album. So again, let me go ahead and relaunch. Do you want me to demo how to create links using descriptive labels in documents? Do you want me to demo this core skill?
The poll appeared and then disappeared.
Oh, let me relaunch it. Thank you, Amy. Okay, gonna move on. You guys are good.
Can I make a point about?
Sure.
I use links a lot and change their names to sort of like structure of, but I always still put in click on the title structure of muscle. Do you see what I'm saying? So because I just find that some of the kids are like, I couldn't see the link.
Right, exactly. And again, if you say click on whatever the title is, then even the title is a descriptive link.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like,
Yeah. It's better than click here.
Yeah, because you're just getting that, you get on your page, it looks ugly, simply just looks ugly because you've got all these
right
links, you know, XYZ, WDJ, sort of, it just looks ugly on the page.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. All right, contrast. Contrast is important. It's just making sure that the colors that you use are quite different between the background and the foreground. You want to have contrasting colors, and you want high contrast between the two. And it's important, typically we use color to show some type of meaning. And with contrast, or when using color, you want to use color with another type of cue. So if you want your text to convey some type of meaning that's important, then use color with bold or with a larger size to convey that meaning. Don't use color on its own, because not everyone would be may be able to perceive that particular color. They may not see it at all. And so they won't know that it's supposed to stand out in some way. Okay, so there's a contrast checker called WebAIM contrast checker, and you can check to see if the colors on your document, if they're contrasting enough. And I'll show you that in a second. There's some, here's some examples of contrast from insufficient to sufficient. And that contrast checker that I talked about told me that this color combination is insufficient. This light gray and the light yellow, there's not enough contrast between the two. There's more here, it's fine, it's acceptable. And the best is just the lightest background with the darkest text, or vice versa, okay? I did put into the contrast checker, and that's what this WebAIM address is. And if you just type in WebAIM contrast checker, it'll come up, and you'll see something where they ask you for the color codes. And I just Googled what are the color codes for Shepherd University colors. And overall, especially with a larger font, our school colors do contrast enough for you to be able to use them and still be accessible, okay? Real quickly on lists, the two things to remember with lists is lists are really good to use to break up walls of text, and it helps students comprehend text more quickly, and it reduces reader fatigue. It's also important, if I go back to Microsoft Word, to use the list tools, whether it's bullet points or numbers, to use those to create your lists, and don't create your own by using tabs and spaces. Use these instead, because these tools will allow a screen reader to read those lists correctly, okay? Let me go on back. Tables. Same thing with tables. And again, when we use tables, typically, and you probably do, when you use tables, you're displaying data. Just make sure you display your data inside a table. And at the top of each table, make sure you use those headings, a heading 1 format, so that a screen reader will read that table the way it's meant to be read. Back in the day, tables were once used for web design. And in order to align content or to place content on a certain area of a page, people would put pictures and other items into each cell of a table to be able to control where that content landed on a web page. And so you don't want to use tables for design, rather you want to use them for the way I'm sure you use them already, which is for data. Any questions on any of that so far? Okay. All right, let's get to the videos and the live meetings. With videos and live meetings, you really want to make sure that you have captions, and that's for a variety of reasons. And it's captions and transcripts are really important for students who can't just watch a video and get the meaning just from watching a video without captions and/or transcripts. And so one of the best tools that we have here at Shepherd is Microsoft Stream. Have any of you used Microsoft Stream in the past to create your own course videos?
Nope.
Is that a nope?
Nope.
Nope, okay. So we have Microsoft Stream, and it's within this waffle here, along with all the Microsoft 365. And what Microsoft Stream does is it automatically generates captions and transcripts for your video. And so you would have this menu here, and you hit create. And you can either upload a video that you have already, and again, it will automatically create transcripts and videos for that video, or transcripts and captions for that video, or you can create a new video. And you have choices down here: camera only, screen and camera, screen only. You would click record, select the desktop, and hit share. It gives you a little countdown. And then you start talking and blah, 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 and welcome to this and that. And then hit pause, you hit next. And from there, you would upload to Stream. And once you do that and hit publish, it's going to take a few minutes, but it will automatically generate captions and transcripts. And so if I click out of this, if I get rid of this, what it looks like, I'll go to and it saves all your video into this one place. So you'll see as we—
Hi, everybody.
but captions are already made, and then the transcript is over here. And you can go in and edit the transcript. I mean, it always gets my last name wrong, and I don't pronounce things as clearly as it needs to be pronounced, so I see typos and things. But you can go in and edit, and it's a really great tool to create accessible course videos. Okay, and then from there, you would just get a link to share to anyone, and you can, share it however you would share your videos. Pop that into your Sakai course or share it over email. Does anyone have any questions about using Microsoft Stream?
So
Last semester, I had a student who was hearing impaired, and one of the common YouTube videos that I used was not captioned. And I'm just wondering if I could upload to this stream a YouTube video, and would it caption that?
You can, and it will.
Okay.
And I'm so glad you brought that up, Amy, because YouTube, you can create captions in YouTube, but it's up to YouTube if it decides that the video is good enough to create captions. It doesn't always. It may not give you that option to create captions for that video, but what you would do is download your YouTube video and then upload the video here.
Okay.
And drag your files in. And I think it goes up to 15 minutes. I'm pretty sure Rich did a whole tech shop on Stream, and that's here. And so if you go to the CTL website and go to the IT tab, he does have the recording here, but it's pretty user friendly and intuitive. But yeah, you can definitely use that. Any other questions on Stream?
So piggybacking on Amy, I think it was Amy's last statement about downloading.
Sure.
If I saw a video that I could use, a snippet, I can snag it with Snagit, pull it down, and then drag it into MicroStream.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and I haven't used Snagit before, DJ, but I have brought videos in. If you find that there are limitations, let me know, and I'll troubleshoot it for you.
Just a quick tip for everyone. TED Talks allow you to actually download the actual content. Do you see what I'm saying? Is to stand by itself. But before you download, they have a load of options where you can type it and ask for it to have a closed captions on that video as well, in whatever language you want. Like they've got about 70 languages.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's good to know. All right, so let's look at our last item, and that is for, let me go ahead and make these smaller. And this is the desktop version of it. So Microsoft Teams is great. And Rich is doing a full tech shop on Microsoft Teams. Here's a plug for Rich on February 15th and 16th from 11 to 12. But I just want to show you briefly, not getting too much into the idea of Teams that's like a Slack channel and a little chat, and but just the actual video conferencing tool with Teams as it relates to accessibility, because it's superior to Zoom. And I really should be having an accessibility video live meeting using Microsoft Teams, but I didn't because I want to show it to you and all that. So we're on Zoom. But this is, if I'm typically, when you see Teams, you might see a window that looks something like this. And over to the left-hand side, no matter what team you have up, you have a calendar. And one of the questions I had about Microsoft Teams was, can I have a live meeting without creating a team, so to speak? And I can, and this is one way to get there. I think there are a number of different ways to get there, but you click on calendar and then you can say meet now. And you can type in names of people to invite. And there are all these snazzy backgrounds where it looks like I'm in this like city loft right now. But I'll go ahead and say join now. Can everyone see this okay?
Yep.
Do you guys see this? Okay.
Yeah.
So in these three little dots, the accessibility piece to this is you can turn on live captions, and you give it a second and it's going to start generating captions as the meeting happens. And this is
Wow.
something I know, right?
So
why it's so good. This is something that Zoom does not do without a third party. You can certainly ask your best texter ever in a class to do live captions in Zoom. That's just not going to work well. I think this is pretty cool.
Now, can you
really cool.
share your screen, like if you were through Teams, and
Yes.
then you can also record this. So if you were recording lectures,
Yes.
you're basically providing your own transcript for your lecture. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, Teams is really good. And you know, I was always a Google person, you know, so all the Microsoft 365 apps that we have here at Shepherd are new to me, but I love it. I mean, I just think we have some of the best stuff. And this is one of them. And I really would like, I hope that more and more people find Teams because it does everything Zoom does. And then too, it looks a little bit different. You know, there are different, you can place your students if they choose to turn their cameras on, you can place them in a classroom setting, you know, so it looks like they're sitting in an auditorium or in a classroom. And so it can just, I know we all have Zoom fatigue and online meeting fatigue, but it's a little bit different. But this is a great perk to Teams for sure. Yeah, but it does have chat, live captions, recording, everything that you can do in Zoom. Are there any other questions or comments about any of these tools? I'm gonna go ahead and leave my Teams meetings. And come back here, find my Zoom. Let's see, I'll stop the share. Okay. Any questions, comments?
Do all our students have Teams?
Yes. So you do have Teams, and in order to set up a team for your class, the IT department sets up a team for you, but you don't have to have a team to use Teams meetings. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Do you just send a link like you would in Zoom to anybody to join your Zoom or to join your?
Yes, to join the Teams, yes. Okay. So in that, so you can set up a new meeting here. Oh, sorry, let me go ahead and go back and share my screen. I'm sorry, Amy. Okay, I have all these different screens up. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, so this is my Teams. I went to Teams calendar. And I can click in a new meeting here if I schedule one and add a title. And then, let's see, add the title. And there was a way, let me see. I know Laura has set up meetings for us, but within that, there is a way to share, and it's lost on me right now. I'm sorry, Amy, but you would share a link in the same way. And I'll send you an email on how to do that specifically. I'm so sorry. I'm not seeing it in front of me. Scheduling assistant, possibly. I will do that offline and send you an email, Amy, on how to do that. I'll send everyone an email.
No worries.
But you can share the link. And then Dennis, to your question earlier, I have different teams, for example, like a Brightspace Sandbox members team, MBA online faculty team, for example. And in those teams, I have invited people who are members of those groups to be able to participate in the other functions of a Microsoft Word or a Microsoft 365 team, okay? And within that, you would just click on Meet up here. And that's the kind of team that IT sets up for professors and staff, members of staff. But you can bypass that completely and set up a video conferencing meeting by just hitting calendar, as I mentioned earlier, and then a new meeting or meet now. Okay. and I will find how to share it and do all that and do the link. So, okay. I will go ahead and stop my share. Let me get back to Zoom. Any other questions or comments about any accessibility tools? Okay. Well, great. Thank you so much for your participation today. And just as a reminder, as the instructional designer here at Shepherd, I am at your service, basically. If you want me to look into your online classes, to brainstorm anything for your courses, or I will be your Microsoft Teams guinea pig at any time, just let me know how I can help make your job as a professor easier, okay? So thank you for your participation today. It was so nice to see everybody.
Thank you. It was great.
Bye. Good. Thanks, Amy. See you guys.